In order to solve an absolute value inequality, you have to have the absolute value symbol isolated. In other words, you can't have anything extra on the outside. So this is 2 times the absolute value of W. You've got to get rid of the 2. So the opposite of multiplying or times is dividing. So I'm going to divide both sides by 2. Top cancels with bottom. So I have the absolute value of W. I'm going to put this as an equal right now, and I'll explain why in a moment. 20 divided by 2 is 10. So to get rid of the absolute value symbol, you take whatever numbers after the equal sign and put that negative of it out front. So negative 10, everything else gets written down just like it is. Okay, so my 2 answers have to do with negative 10 and positive 10. Now you have to decide how you're going to write your answer. Greater, and I know this is not how you spell these things, but it helps me remember them. Less than or less than is together. That means your variable is going to be in the middle between them. Greater means they're apart, and you're actually going to use the word or in your answer. So this is a greater situation. So what you do with a greater situation is you use opposite symbols. So less than negative 10, I use the less than with a negative 10 because negative numbers are less than 0. And then I told you you're going to use the word or. W is greater than 10. So whatever the smaller number is has a less than with it. Whatever the larger number is has a greater than with it. And that's your answer. So on the next one, we can't have that positive 6. So I have to subtract 6 from both sides. So I get the absolute value of W. Again, I'm going to call it equals for now while I work with it. And I don't want to do that. So equals 11 take away 6 is 5. Get rid of the absolute value symbol by putting a negative 5 out front like this. Equals W equals positive 5. So this is less than, so that means it's together. So basically all you do is just copy down your answer and substitute the original symbol like this. Negative 5 is less than or equal to W, which is less than or equal to 5, and that is your answer. So if it's a greater situation, you're going to use the word or and separate the answers. If it's less than, you're going to put them together. This next one, you can't have 6 outside, so that's 6 times the absolute value of V. You have to divide both sides by 6 because that's the opposite of times. So I get the absolute value of V equals 12. So to get rid of the absolute value, I'm going to put a negative 12 out front. Everything else stays the same. Now this was a less than situation, so less than is together. So all you do is put in the original symbol and put your letter in the middle. So that one's finished. Okay, this next one, you can't have a negative, you can't have anything with the absolute value symbol. So the opposite of negative 18 is positive 18. So I'm going to add 18 to both sides. So I get the absolute value of U, those cancel, equals 18 take away 11 is 7. So then to get rid of the absolute value symbol, it's negative 7 equals U equals positive 7. Now your final answer, it's greater. It's greater than, so you're going to split them apart. So U, and notice how this inequality is underlined. So it's going to be U is less than or equal to negative 7, or U is greater than or equal to positive 7. So you make the inequality look the same, except for with or, you've got one less than and one greater than. And the less than is always with the smallest number. This next one, I'm going to subtract 8 from both sides so that my absolute value symbol is isolated. So I get the absolute value of V equals 15 take away 8 is 7. So it's going to be negative 7 equals V equals 7. It's a greater situation. So this inequality is not underlined. So when you write them, you do not underline your inequality, but it is an or situation, so you're going to split them apart. This next one, I'm going to add 21 to both sides. So I get the absolute value of x is greater than or equal to 21, take away 14 is 7. I don't know why these are all coming out to be 7s. Okay, so that's a negative 7 equals x equals 7. Then figure out what your final answer is going to be. Again, this one is a gray tour. So it's going to be x is less than or equal to negative 7, or x is greater than or equal to positive 7.